Good afternoon, welcome everyone. This is Chris from Ascertus. Thank you for joining. I think more people will be joining us over the next minute or so. Can I just check, there's going to be a lot of attendees on this session, so we've muted everybody's microphones just so we don't get any background noises. But could somebody just pop into the chat window just to say that they can hear me? Because I don't want to be talking to myself, and it's always good to check. So if someone could just say yes in the chat window, that would be really, really useful if you can hear me. Anyone? Oh, good, thank you. Not that I've done one of these before with my mic on mute for 15 minutes, but it's always good to check. So what I will do now, I'm just going to start by quickly saying hello, on camera. This is me. Always nice to put a face to the voice, but I will turn that off in a moment. And again, people are filtering through. I'm going to share my screen too, so bear with me. So this is the first of our new monthly top tips webinars. So we're going to run a webinar each month on a different topic. The one we plan to run next month is going to be a bit of a searching in iManage masterclass, all the top tips, things I've learned often from customers, their favorite ways to search. So watch out for that. You'll get a notification at the end of this session, a link to join that session next month. But the first one, and by the way, this session will be recorded, and that will be made available after the webinar is completed. Because everybody's muted, if you have any questions, if you can write those, there is a questions section here. You can put them into that section, or maybe even the chat, and my colleague will then try to follow up on those. At the end of the session, hopefully we'll have time to address some of those questions. If not, we will follow up with you if we don't manage to get the time to review those on the session today. So again, I think everybody should be here. That's due to be here. Let me get rid of my camera because no one really wants to see me. It's all about iManage today. So the first of our sessions that we plan to run was our Work 10 for Beginners. So the idea is, obviously, some of you may be new to iManage. Some of you may not be new, but you'd like a bit of a refresher. But because this session is being recorded, it may be something you can then use for some of your new starters, new teammates. So my name's Chris. I'm the head of client services at Ascertus. I do a lot of most of our end user training. That's my background and that's my passion. And this is what we're going to cover today, but we need to really think about why we're here. What is iManage? I'm sure most of you know, but it's a matter, engagement, or topic-centric document management system. All documents and emails relating to a particular topic can be stored in a central workspace that everybody who has permission to see that workspace can access. The whole point is collaboration, and we're really fixing the email problem that we have. We can share documents quite well, but we can't really see each other's emails. It's hard to actually collaborate on that front. iManage fixes that problem. It's super quick, simple to use, incredible search capabilities. We'll get a taste of that today, but next month we're really going to go into some depth. Overall, the system's very user-friendly once you get used to it. This is the market-leading document management system for a reason. So in today's session, we're going to start at the very beginning. A nice, gentle introduction to iManage, how we navigate workspaces and folders. Then we'll focus in on the key tasks, opening and saving documents and best practice there, how we can search effectively. Again, more on that next month though. How we can manage emails. There's many ways in which we can do this. So again, you may learn a few things today, even if you're not that new to iManage. And hopefully we get time for that Q&A at the end, but we've got quite a bit to get through. So less waffle, Chris, let's move on. So let's have a look at where we would expect to see iManage. So we have full integration right across Microsoft Office. Wherever we need to open or save or interact with documents in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or even in Outlook, you will see iManage. So across the top of the mailbox, we see the email management toolbar. That's one of the many ways in which we can save emails and attachments into iManage. Top right corner, a smaller group of tools. Now, you won't see the tracker panel. This is just something new that I'm testing, teasing you with this right now, but you will see the work panel. The other buttons, by the way, are just additional ways to perform the same task. So again, it's just giving you access in every area. The work panel, though, will open up the iManage environment within Outlook. And for many people, this is the main way they browse their files, their documents, their emails. It's not my recommendation, but it's really up to you. This is the iManage interface. The main menu is across the top of the screen, and it's built on a recent content first concept. So documents will show me the documents I've recently worked on. The emails option will show me the emails I've recently saved into the system in chronological order. Recent folders I've worked within. Recent matters I've worked on. So it's built on a recent concept arrangement, and that means I can get to what I need to get to very quickly if I've recently worked on it. So these are my matters, and mine's a bit of a law firm example. So we've got client matter numbers and matter descriptions. And this obviously is going to be very unique to your environment and your organization. But a matter is simply the topic, that workspace. The name, the description simply identifies what this topic relates to. And when we click on a workspace name, it then takes us in to show us the folders that live within that workspace, that topic. I like this one in particular because somebody can't spell attorney, and it always makes me smile. But at this level, it's just folders, and beneath folders, we would expect to see perhaps subfolders, or of course the content, and in this case, documents. So this provides quick access to that iManage world. Now, one of the reasons I like it in Outlook is that I can actually file emails and get to content and attach things to emails very quickly using this interface. So for example, here's a matter, and I've just received an email on that subject. If I want to store a copy of that email into that matter, I simply drag and drop onto the matter, and it will then file a copy of that email into the matter. How do I know it's filed? We will see a little tick on the envelope. So this tick identifies that this email has or does live in iManage somewhere. iManage will deduplicate. So if 5 people get the same email and they all put it into the same place, only one copy will appear there. And it will also alert your colleagues when you file an email or they file an email. If you all receive the same email, one person files it, you may still see a green tick on your email. So again, it's really good for collaboration. The work panel is also good for storing attachments. If I save an email that has attachments in iManage, I have to find the email to find the attachments. And I might want to locate those documents independently to the email. So I could very simply drag and drop attachments from here. That's one way we can do it. There are other ways too. So the work panel is very useful, but it's not the main way we can browse iManage. We can do that from the standalone web browser called iManage Work Web. Now, this is my big recommendation for new users. The people that get on best with iManage tend to use this full screen interface most of the time. It's full screen for a start, and we can see much more on screen. We're not cramped into Outlook or Word. It's also very flexible. We could drag this to a second monitor if we have more than one. We can tile it down the left-hand side or right side of the screen and arrange it alongside another document. We can also zoom in and out. All browsers have zoom controls, and they're in the menus, but Control and plus on the keyboard together makes the content bigger. Control and minus will make the content smaller. So again, this is the same interface, but we now have that main menu down the left-hand side of the screen. And we can then navigate by clicking on the option on the left. So again, documents on the left, recent documents, matters on the left, recent matters. Okay. So everything here is adjustable. We can make this column a bit thinner. We can minimize the menu. So there's lots of personalization options here. Now, in terms of matters, that concept, again, matters on every topic. If you're new to iManage, there's a problem with recent matters. You haven't recently worked on any matters. This list will be empty. In fact, most of those recent lists will be empty. So we need to know how to search, and this is where we introduce this single search bar at the top of the screen. We can search for documents, for emails, for subfolders, by matter, or even by client. Now, for many of the people on this call, you may not have clients as such. You may be working for an in-house legal team or another corporate department. So it's the way we group matters in a law firm or an accountancy firm. We have lots of matters for particular clients. If you're working in-house, it may be a work type or an entity or an internal department. It's just the way we group clients, so we can then search in that way. So for a matter search, which is the primary search, we simply type in a keyword, what we would expect to find in that matter name. And often less is more, by the way. So keep it simple, type in a keyword, press enter on your keyboard, and it then will do a search and locate every matter that contains that keyword. If you get too many results, of course, you can be more precise, but it's best to start with less and then work your way down if you think you need to. There we are. Now, once we locate the matter, we simply click, we go in, we start working, and away we are. Now, interestingly here, some of these folders are yellow, some are white or pale. A white folder is an empty folder. It just saves you wasting a click. Now, once you go into a folder, if you want to return back up that one level to see the main folders, the small arrow to the left of the folder here, that will let you go back up a level, and then you can navigate elsewhere. So the challenge is really finding things in the first instance, click into the search bar, type in a keyword that you would expect to find in that matter name, press enter, and then it's probably a matter of just scrolling down to find the correct workspace. Anything you then work in should then go in your recent matters list. Now, for a matter, we do have that description, but they are also categorized. What you will see under here will be, again, very personal to your organization, but we group our matters here by client. So that helps me identify the topic, of course, but it also goes into what we will see in this recent list on the left. So every time I work on a matter for a particular client, and again, for you, this may be entity, work type, department, it will add that item to my recent clients, entity, work type list. And it means I don't have to then search for other matters that would fall under one of these categories. And this builds automatically. So what you will see in here will be very relevant to you and what you work on. But if I want to see all of the matters for a particular client, I can click on the client here. Everything I have permission to see, of course, will then be displayed, whether I've worked in these matters or not. So everything builds here automatically based on matter activity and in particular document activity. Top of the menu, recent documents will display every document I've worked on in the past 30 days. Wherever we see a document, this I hope is obvious, but if you need to open a document, you simply double click and then the document will open. Okay, but wherever we see a document or any list, we have lots of options. All of our display options can be found in the top right-hand corner of the screen. So we can sort any list. We will always see sort options in the top right corner. So this is sorted by most recent document at the top, but we could focus in on the most recently created or edited, and probably most useful here, just arranging that list alphabetically, sorting by name, and we can reverse that sort as well. This is a very important button on the far right, Show Details. That will open a panel with 3 tabs. This is the properties of the selected item. So we have our document. As I change the selection, it will change the details on the right. And there are 3 tabs. One is properties. That allows me to change some of the details associated with this document. Perhaps I want to make this a final document, change the document name. I just can do that from here very simply. We can also view versions, all versions, in the versions tab. So when you're browsing a folder in a matter, it will only show you the latest version of each document. That's a great decluttering feature. All versions can be accessed from the versions tab. So these are all separate documents, but they all have the same document number. So under each document, we can see that metadata. Who last worked on the document? What matter or workspace that lives in? And there may be other things that are unique to your environment, your company, but they will all display a document number. Every document stored in iManage is assigned a unique number which identifies that document, but it's the number combined with the version number. So this document is document number 85423.4. This is .3, .2, .1. So we manage versions that way, but more on version control later on. The preview tab, well, you could probably figure out what this is going to do. It will preview your document, and that can be a real time saver. If you widen this, it auto zooms, you can scroll with your mouse. And one of my favorite buttons, if that's too strong a word, is this, select text. You can click this button, select and copy and paste direct from the preview. There is a big brother version of this preview. When we click on the document name, one click here will launch a full screen preview. The whole point of this is it's quicker than opening a document if all you want to do is read or review a document. I can't edit it here. I have to open that fully to do that, but I can do quite a lot here. So obviously I can read my document. I can go to next file or previous file to open in the preview the next file in any list of documents. So it could be in recent documents, it could be in a matter folder. The behavior is the same. And that can be a really useful thing to do if you need to review a number of documents very quickly. Now within the preview, we can search for keywords. So in the top left corner, search, I could be looking for a particular word. I can enter that word or phrase, press enter, and then it will search the document, highlighting where it found those words. And again, we can then work our way down the left-hand side to review each occurrence of that word. So that's quite a nice feature. All document options are available across the top as icons. So point to them and it will explain what each of these buttons does. You may not understand all of them early on, but again, the ones you need should be very obvious. And we have the versions tab on the right hand side. And again, if there are multiple document versions, they will all be displayed here. So let's say I'm on page 62 of a contract, version 11. I wonder how that looked in version 10. I can select version 10 here and it will load that into the preview on the left hand side. My Wi-Fi is a little slow today, but not too bad. It will also auto scroll to the same position in the document, which I think is a really nice feature. Each of these versions, we can see the version name, the document name, they could be the same, they could be different, who last worked on that document and when, and any comments they've left for their colleagues, which is a great feature. Each document has its own menu. So wherever we see a ... button, it means show me the options for this item. So for a document, these are all my main document options. Preview we're in, open for editing, open in protected view in Word, download outside of iManage, print the document. Be careful of that button. It will not give you any options. It will just go straight to the printer. I might want to email this document to a colleague. Yes, so there's everything you need should be there. And one really great button no one ever notices is in a previous versions menu. If I want to know what's actually changed between version 10 and version 11, I can launch the comparison directly from the menu here. And that will launch Word's default comparison tool. No one ever notices that button. So I thought I'd point that out, even if you're not new to iManage. Hopefully you might find that useful. All of those options, again, are also across the top of the preview. We can do a lot here without opening documents. When documents are open, a red padlock will be visible here. And we call it checking a document out, checking it out of the library. So it's letting me know that this person has the document open. Well, that's me, but that can be useful if others are working on documents, and it just alerts you to that fact. Again, the same version panel is available here too, and the mini preview. So there's a lot happening at the top. The sort options, the details cards, which will shunt everything along a little, and this. The filters are the best thing in iManage version 10. If you see any list of documents, there are often too many. You're really struggling to, sometimes find what you need to find in any list. So the filters allow you to drill down to focus in. And it's a bit like a shopping site. If you go on eBay or Amazon, you often have the little tick boxes on the left to make the list more relevant. And we can do the same here, but for documents and emails. So I could say, show me all of the documents I've worked on, because this is my recent documents list, but only in the last week. And I'm looking for a PDF I worked on in the last week. Well, there it is. A couple of clicks. I don't need to search. I don't even need to browse. The filters can help me locate what I need very quickly. And we can filter by colleague. And The other options in here are very all company specific, but typically you might see document classifications, top 5 clients I've worked with, top 5 matters, or it could be top 5 work types, top 5 entities. Explore your filters, see what you've got available, because there's usually some great options there. So in my example, I'm looking for a spreadsheet I've worked on in the past month, but the client was Bank of America. No, it wasn't. It was Acme. Not in my list. I can just do a search at the bottom. There we go. Acme Consulting. Okay, well, obviously I didn't work on a spreadsheet. Was it a PDF then? PDF of a spreadsheet. So it allows me to explore the filters without really doing anything. It's a temporary setting. Explore your filters. You can click on documents here to reset those filters back to their defaults. It will summarize at the top of a list what filters you have applied as well. So for emails, that's very useful. Emails filed by me will show me everything I've saved in iManage. So the filters then and the sort options, again, email sort options, will help me drill down to find something more relevant. Show me the emails I've saved in iManage, but only the ones that were sent to me in the past 6 months that have an attachment for a particular client, entity, department, team, practice area, again, based on what metadata you have in your system. So it means I don't have to scroll search as much as I would in other systems. The filters are doing that for me. Okay. So what we're going to do now, let's have a couple of things I'll point out actually just quickly. So again, look out for those ... menus, all the options I need for an individual item. If I tick multiple items just down the left, those options will appear in bulk across the top of the screen. It's just getting used to which button does what. Same concept with emails, individual options, and I can right click, by the way, to get that same menu. And down the left, tick, 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 bulk options across the top. Okay. So again, getting used to that navigation, recent options, there are 2 favorites areas here. So My Matters is where I could favorite a particular matter. I can drag and drop from here onto that label, and it adds that to my Matters list. It's just a way of having a much smaller, easy to navigate list of matters, shortcuts to those matters. We're not moving anything. It's just if you find that useful. This might be my to-do list of things I need to work on over the next couple of days. And my favorites is for anything. Your favorite matters, your favorite folders, your favorite documents, your favorite emails, anything you need quick access to, you can drag and drop on top of that favorites label for quick access. They're not used as much as they used to be, but they're still useful for those key documents. Okay. Let's have a look at how we get content into the system. So we've had a bit of a look from an email perspective. Let's have a look from a document perspective. So I'm going to move over to Microsoft Word. Now in the file menu, you will see iManage options here, but I recommend starting with the iManage toolbar. I know they're now called ribbons, but the name hasn't really caught on, has it? The toolbar. So everything you need is here, including lots of things you'll probably never need. Most of the buttons here are standard Microsoft Word commands that need iManage integration. The key options we need are on the left for opening and saving. So if I'm in Word and I need to open another Word document, I might as well do that from here. And it opens up a slightly smaller version of that same web interface. Same recent lists down the left-hand side, same favorites area, recent documents, exactly the same. Same search options at the top. We've also got the same previews, filters, sort options. It's a smaller version of the main iManage Work web interface. But this is a document I haven't yet saved. Brand new, I've just typed the details. I need to save it into iManage, so I'm going to click on to Save As. But from this toolbar, very important. Again, it opens up that same interface. I would navigate to the correct matter from one of my recent lists. Again, I can search at the top if I need to for something not in a recent list. Choose the correct matter, go into the correct destination folder. On the right-hand side, we can then give that document a name. There we go. Now, author is the owner of the document. So this may be me, but if I'm producing this document on behalf of a colleague, it's their document. So I can actually select my colleague from this list and say, well, this is actually Raj's document. If you classify your documents, not all companies do, all document classifications are available here. You may find this useful for searching or filtering, and it is in the filters there. So it's something you do have to then obviously select consistently. But really, we're choosing a folder, we're giving the document a name. Those are the key actions. Press save, and then it's in iManage. We can now see at the top there of the title bar, it's been assigned a document number. And again, that's unique to this document. We can add that to the footer of the document by clicking on the footer button. Document number, version, the database name, which for most people is something like active or something generic, and the document name. Everything we would need to locate the electronic version of this potentially, physical document if we'd printed it. That will then update after that point. So it's in iManage. What can we do with it? Well, I might want to send a link to this to a colleague. I've drafted it. I want to draw their attention to it. I've got send link here. That will attach a link to this document immediately to an email, which I could then say, hey, Raj, I've actually finished producing this document. Can you now review it? Now, the key thing here is this is not a copy of the document. This is a direct link to the original. And that means Raj doesn't have to think about where do I need to save this or potential duplication. He goes straight to the original source of truth. That's a link. Only people within your organization with access to iManage and the workspace this document lives within can open this link. So it's fully secure. So if I email the wrong person outside the organization via the link, not a problem really. Embarrassing potentially, but not a big problem. So I'm going to send this link to Raj now. And when you hit send, you will always see this box pop up. This is what we generally call send and file. Every time you send an email in the iManage world, it will say, do you want to save a copy in iManage? It's optional. You don't have to save every email, only the relevant ones. And in that case, you would say send only. But if you do want to file it, it will learn your behavior where you say save emails from particular people on particular subjects. Of course, because this document, this link came out of a particular matter, it's highlighting that matter because it assumes that's where the email should be filed. So there is some smart kind of stuff behind the scenes here. Now, if it gets this completely wrong, now it isn't wrong here, we know that. If it's wrong, we can change the selection to another matter. There could be more than one suggested location. I might be corresponding with this person on a number of topics. If it's not in this list at all, we can search just above. Type in the keyword, press enter. It will then locate any matter that contains that keyword in the matter name. And then we can select the matter to file into. Now, of course, because I'm sending my colleague a link to a document that lives in this matter, this is the correct matter. And there wasn't anything I needed to do. And I do want to file a record of this email into iManage, so I'm going to choose the send and file option. I've sent the email, I've filed that as a record in iManage with minimal effort. So send link is here. Now, other saving options. So I've drafted this document. I need to make some additional changes. How do I save the changes? Well, I can hit the disk here, the regular save disk, file save, Control and S on the keyboard, or we can use the iManage version of those buttons. Save and sync. Save the changes to the current document. It just saves the changes. It's still version 1. We're just saving the changes. What this button does, over and above this button, this updates iManage immediately. Now, what that means is if I go to recent documents here, we can see I'm working on this document. We can see the preview. People can see my changes in real time if we're collaborating. That could be quite a useful thing. So that's all that save and sync really does, but I suppose it's a safer way to work. You're saving everything centrally. If you're on a PC that perhaps crashes occasionally, everything's saved in iManage. Now, if we want to create a version, that really is a conscious user decision. It's up to you if you ever create a version and why you would create that version. But let's say, for the sake of argument, my colleague Raj created this document. He's asked me to review it. He sent me the link. I've opened it and I want to make changes. Now, if I make changes now and hit save and sync, I'm kind of saving over my colleague's document as it looked when they left it. So I'm going to be polite. I'm going to create version 2, and I'm going to make my changes in version 2. So my colleague's document will kind of be preserved as it looks at this point in time. Save as new version. That will then allow me to change some details. I might want to change the document name, draft, but this is my top tip, comments. Add comments for colleagues, any colleague that might be reviewing this document. Who was working on it? Why? What were you doing? Anything that I need to be aware of here? Track changes. No, that's an alert. Be careful. It's not a finalized document for review. This requires sign off. Anything a colleague might find useful. Document from other side. Document from client. So these comments only get stored in iManage. They don't get stored against the document. So when you're sending them out, they're not going to see these comments. They will see the file name, but not these comments. We can change anything else we need to, but we don't need to. Save. And now we have version 2. So quick though, it's almost instantaneous. We can now see version 2 up here, and we can see version 2 in the footer, and in the browser, it will say version 2 as well. And now when I'm making changes with horrible track changes on, I know I'm only making those changes to version 2. Add some more stuff. And when I want to save the changes to version 2, I'm using save and sync just to save the changes to version 2. Okay, so again, save as is to save a document for the first time or to repurpose an existing document in a new location with another name, so like a precedent. Save and sync is how we save changes to the current document as we work. Save as new version is what we click when we want to create the next version up, but it's a very conscious decision. Again, top tip is to add those comments. What stage of drafting are we at here? So the version control is sometimes underused in iManage, but it will help you quite a lot. I'm going to accept and all these changes and save and sync the changes. And now we have a nice clean version 3. Versions here, the versions button is available in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint and other integrated applications. I can see that same panel on the right that we can see in the web interface. I can see those 3 versions, who last modified them. They may have the same or different document names. But the comments are really informing me, what was happening here, who was doing what, where did it come from, what stage of drafting are we currently at. So that's really useful. Now, if my colleague Raj opens version 3 and says, Chris, what did you do? You've made a mess of my document. I don't like the direction of travel for this document. We can use this version panel here or in the browser to open the previous version, maybe just for review, but we can also use it to recover a document from an earlier point in its drafting evolution. So I'm going to click on version 2. But anytime I try and open an older version in iManage, it will warn me. Nobody opens an older version in iManage by accident. It's a very deliberate, conscious decision. So this document is not the latest version. That's checked out to you. It's kind of a bit of a passive-aggressive reminder that you've got it open elsewhere. Well, I know that it's in front of me. It will always try and lead me to the latest version. And that's a great safety net. So to open version 2, I have to say open the selected version, very deliberate, very conscious, and then it will let me open that as it looked at that point in time. Now, if I want to recover this, I could just save it elsewhere, but I might also want to promote that to become the latest version. Save as the newest version. It will leapfrog any other version to become the new version. But boy, I want to leave a note here to say why I did this. Recovered from V2. I can't remember what the version was, but you get the idea. Due to, if you don't leave a note, no one's going to know historically what you did and why. So the note's as much for me as it is for my colleagues. So what was I doing here and why? And it helps me understand the timeline as I review it over time. That now will become version 4, and I can then make other changes. So what should have happened here is some of these changes should have been accepted and that should have been rejected. So again, that's a nice thing that I could do with versions. So save and sync, the versions tab is there to review older versions, to get to older versions. And again, you can perform the comparison directly from the versions panel. Rather than selecting again those documents, it's in the menu here. Compare version 3 with version 4. It preloads that for you. So if you do perform document comparisons, that's a great shortcut. Now we've also got the timeline. This is also available in the document menu in the web browser. In every menu for every document, there's the timeline option. And this is the document history, full history, full audit trail of every activity performed on this document over time. So in the past day, the past week, the past month, or 3 months, or between 2 dates I specify, who has edited this document? So everything I've done today, creating version 1, modifying, saving changes to a document, creating next versions, saving changes to it, every editing action is recorded for each person at the date and time it took place. Who has emailed this document? Just me earlier, that link. What version? Was it a link or an attachment? Who has viewed the document? Every colleague who's even previewed the document, their name will go in the list. Who's downloaded it, who's printed it. It's a great collaboration feature. It's a great troubleshooting feature. It's also a record of audit for this document. The timeline is available in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and in the web browser. And of course, properties, if I just need to tweak the file name before I email it out. So these options are here. They're also on the main toolbar in Word on the far right-hand side. Okay. Now, of course, you can also convert this to a PDF from here. It simply gives you the correct saving options. Save as the next version or as a separate document. So simple tools, optional tools. We can go into these in more detail on a future session, perhaps. So let's finish off with some of the other email filing functionalities that we have and some of my favorite things. So again, as we discovered earlier, drag and drop is one way we could file an email. We could select one or a number of emails, and we can then drag and drop them, hopefully into the correct matter. And that's the problem with drag and drop. People often drop emails into the incorrect matter because it's quite an easy thing to do. Perhaps your finger might slip off the mouse. Where did they go? So drag and drop is risky. It's also more work. If the matter is not in this list, I have to search for it. Right, it's not in recent, so I'm going to have to locate. Oh no, so it's manual effort that we don't really probably think about too much, but it is extra effort. So the fastest way to file emails is to use the email management toolbar. This toolbar will learn your behavior over time. It will learn where you file emails from particular people on particular subjects, threads, and it will then complete this field here with a suggested filing location. This can be widened, by the way. You can make this wider here if you want more space. This is where it thinks. This email, let's try this one. No suggestions here. That's of interest. It hasn't got a clue where these should go, but for these others, it's got an idea where it thinks this may go. That's why it's completed. So it's this matter, and particularly that folder within the matter it thinks this email should be filed into. So what we can then do is confirm that by pressing Quick File. That's the correct suggestion. Go and file it. It will then go away, process that email and file it into that location. Or largely a background process, you just get on with your life. Now, if it wasn't the correct suggestion, we could click into that box and then it will list my recent locations. It may be one of those that I could quickly select, double click. It's that one. Quick file confirms. The more you file, the better the suggestions, the more accurate those suggestions will be. So if you're new to iManage, it can be a little frustrating at first. That's why people go for drag and drop, but stick with it. It will eventually be much quicker. So as new emails come in, it should predict the location. You just quick file to confirm to make sure it's the right one and you're not filing things that don't need to be in iManage. If it's the wrong location, click into the box. There could be multiple suggested locations. So you may be corresponding with this person on a number of subjects. So it won't always know exactly what the right subject is. So again, you can select from this list, but we can also search in this list. So if I clear this search, I of course can type a keyword in that box. It will go away and search the system for a matter containing that keyword. And I can double click. Now notice I'm not selecting the email folder. If there is only one email folder, the default email folder, I just need to double click on the workspace, the matter name. It assumes it's the email folder because there's only one of them. If there's no default email folder, it may ask you to select a folder. Now that didn't file the email, that is just nominating the location. Quick file confirms. So you have the control and hopefully the confidence that it won't be putting things into places that you're not ready for them to go into. So it's copying emails into iManage. I can file them as soon as I receive them. I can then do whatever I like with the ones in Outlook. What's in iManage is in iManage. If I delete an email from Outlook now, it's not going to delete it in iManage. They're now separate repositories. Now, we saw the send and file earlier when we sent the email out. So when we send an email, it will ask us whether we want to file it on the way out. Now, what it will do is it will put a luggage tag into that sent item. And this will be unique to your organization, the format. So mine is, I'm using my partner demo. Yours might say something like admin or maybe an abbreviation of some kind. But the FID code is the thing that's unique. Folder ID, this is literally the number which represents this location. So what that means is when somebody replies to an email that I've sent and filed on the way out, it knows where the response will go. Now, one of two things is going to happen here, and this depends on the setup at your company. Either it will automatically file the reply, or it will just suggest the location for that reply, and you have to still quick file. And what setting you've got is for the whole organization. So some companies go with one, some go with the other. But either way, the green tick will confirm whether the email was filed or not. A little tip for you here is remember we can sort lists in Outlook, and if we sort by the type, it will group all the ticked envelopes together, the ones you filed. Therefore, I might want to delete all of these in bulk, but it will also alert you to the ones without the green tick, and that is where you can review what you haven't yet filed in bulk. That can be quite useful. So sorting by type is a nice tip. Let's go back to conversations, date. Now, other things we might want to do, just to point out a couple of things. One is you can also file emails by right-clicking. Quick file is here, and also that filing history, recent locations, suggested locations are also here. One of the options you also have is browse and file, and that gives us that same send and file dialog box we see when we send emails out. One of the options here and in send and file is this. File to multiple locations. So for emails we send or receive, we may need to file this email in more than one place. And you can do that by ticking that box. So now I'm going to file this email in 3 matters because this email relates to all 3. And it needs to go in all 3. There we go. So browse and file, we can do that from here. And when we're sending, this will pop up automatically. You just, again, tick that same box in the bottom left corner. We also need to talk about attachments. We did touch on this earlier. So using the work panel, it's a great way to actually save attachments if it's a new document. That's not something we wanted to look at today. Let me try this is more like it. So I can drag and drop to save an attachment separate to the email it came in on. But that would then save that as a brand new document. What if I want to manage this as part of my versioning protocol? So I sent this agreement out to my client, and I wanted their review, their input. They've sent it back to me, and they've made some suggested amendments. So if I drag that into the folder, it will create a duplicate. The original is there, but then this duplicate copy will be saved as version 1. That can cause a few problems. So I want to manage the versions carefully. I want to save it as the new version of the one I sent them, and I want to record the fact it's the copy that came from the client, so we know it's not the one we sent. This is where the Save Attachments button comes into play. It's also here. And then if I point to that, now notice I haven't opened the email. I can do this while the email is closed. I've just highlighted the email. It's also available within an open email too. It's just one less click. But I can use Save Attachments to either save it as a brand new document or as a new version of an existing document. And that's what I want to do. Now, this is what I like about version control in iManage. It gives me warnings. If it thinks I might be doing something, might not be best practice, or I might need to be aware of, it will alert me to that fact. There's a possible conflict. It's not the best worded message, this, but it's essentially telling me you're trying to save version 9 of a document as the latest version, but you're now on version 11 in iManage. So are you sure you want to save an older document as the latest version? That's a great reminder for me, but I may not know newer versions have been created. It may have been a colleague that did that. It's just something I'm now aware of. So I'm going to say yes. And of course, I might need to perform a document comparison later on just to check the details there. It will then give me that same versioning saving window. And it will add a comment into the comments automatically to say what email this attachment came from. And of course, I would add to that client amends or revisions of client amends of version 9. I want to make sure everybody knows they've marked version 9, not version 11. Save. So that version control within Outlook is really good. Other things you can do here, you can, if you do like your Outlook subfolders, you can connect them to iManage. So what I'll do here is I'll create a new folder, and I'm going to call it my Acme folder for my Acme Matter emails. As soon as I create a new folder, it will say, would you like to link this to iManage? Do you want to create a connection between Outlook and the relevant iManage space? Any emails you then move into the Outlook folder will auto file into iManage. Nothing you need to do. So we're creating that linked connection at the folder level. So I'm going to say yes. And then I would need to find the correct matter and of course, nominate the correct folder. Any email I put in this Acme inbox subfolder, copy into this location. Just confirm the location, click OK. It will then add the word work onto that folder. So when I then move emails into that folder, they will automatically be filed into that same iManage location. And that's nice if you love your subfolders, but the real use case for me, the benefit, if you're out and about on your mobile phone, you can't really file things on your phone, but you can move them to subfolders very easily. And if those folders are connected, it is filing for you. So there's a real benefit there. So again, great functionality. Use the email management toolbar. It is the most efficient way to do most things long term. Watch out for the send and file prompts too. Think about how you manage versions. Don't just open documents. There's more clicks involved. Save them first before you open them. And to finish very quickly, just for a minute or two, let's have a quick overview, look at searching. So getting stuff into iManage is simple. I think browsing is simple once you get used to it, but occasionally we still need to search. Occasionally we have no idea where a document is, or we're looking for documents that have similar characteristics. So I'm going to look for a document that has the word Acme in the name. That's all I know. That is the default search, but I need to say I'm looking for a document or an email or a matter. So watch out for that. So I'm going to look for all documents with the word Acme in the name. And there they are. Now, at this point, you could have thousands of documents if it's a very common word. So the options you have are few. One, personalized. This would limit the search results to one of your recent matters. Filters, that's definitely a massive assistance here. I've got too many results. I want to focus this list in. So the document I'm looking for is definitely within 6 months of age. It's a PDF or it's Raj's document, or it relates to a certain client or matter. Use the filters to focus in. We can change the sort order, of course. There is another view here called grid view, which gives you a more columned list, and you may prefer that for sorting. Some people do prefer this grid view. I think it's a little old-fashioned, but that's entirely up to you. The starting location will determine the scope of search. So if you're starting within a matter, it assumes you just want to search within that matter. If you're in a folder, it assumes you just want to search within that folder. But again, the search masterclass is next month, so we're going to look at all kinds of stuff there. So I'm going to, the one that everybody always wants to see, and it is the best search really, is the keyword search. That will search the content of documents, keyword. You can make that the default search. So when you press enter, that's what it will do. Again, make sure you're on documents here. All your recent searches will be displayed below for quick access to rerun. Blam, keyword search, looking for documents with the word contract within the body of the document. Now, that won't just search, by the way, the body of a document. It will search the properties, the comments, the name, but the best matches will be at the top of the list. It will then highlight in the preview where it found that keyword for context. This search, contract, won't just find that. It will find contract, contracts, contracted, contractor, all variations of that word. I could add a couple of words in. It will find documents that contain both words, but not necessarily together or adjacent to each other. So sometimes less is more. People struggle search-wise when they try and be too precise. We can also search for documents by colleague, which is often underused, but I'm looking for all the documents, all Raj's documents. There we are. Just search by author, because I know it's one of his documents I'm looking for, and then I can use the filters to focus in a bit more. And of course, we can search by document number if we have that document number. Obviously, in the footer of our document, search by document number. There it is. Similar concept with email searching. Type your keyword, but think about what's below. Where do we want iManage to look for this word? In the email subject? In the from field or the to field? That's a company, so it will show every email from anybody at that company. Or keyword. Keyword will search the content of emails, but also these fields too. So it's a bit of a get out of jail option, really. So the keyword, all of these emails have Acme somewhere. It could be the subject, it could be the body, or both. One of the other properties. It could even be within an attachment attached to the email. Everything in iManage is searchable. PDFs, zip files. If there's a word somewhere, it will find the word. You just don't need to worry about it. That's the point. It does all the hard work and thinking for you. And the very last thing, hopefully we've got a few questions. A couple of my favorite features that no one ever notices. If I go into a matter, folders can get in my way. What if I'm the manager or client partner? I want to see the latest activity across this whole matter. I've got to go into every single folder to find that content. No, you don't. Filters are available at the matter level. Folders is just the default view. Latest documents will show you the latest documents across all of the folders in this matter, as if they don't exist basically. Every document's available in chronological order, the most recently edited at the top. And we can also say, show me the latest emails. There's nothing stopping you saving an email in a document folder and vice versa. So this gives every email in the whole matter, regardless of what folder it lives in. And of course, we can then have a combination of those two. A true electronic file, all the latest documents and emails in chronological order. And you have to remember to click back onto folders to see the folders again. Now, to really blow your mind, you can do this at the client or parent category level. So I'm the client partner for Acme Consulting Company. All of these matters are worked on by people within my team. I want to see the latest activity at the client level, or again, for you, this might be the work type, department, entity level. Show me the latest documents across every matter. No one ever notices that filter. A real get out of jail option. And again, I'm now searching, but only searching within this area. Okay, so I think we're pretty much there on time-wise. I wonder if we had any questions that we are there to review. I don't know if Sonia, whether there's anything that's popped out that you can
Hi,
maybe.
Chris.
Hey.
Yeah, we've just had one question come in from another Chris, and he actually asked, is it possible to view files that got recently deleted from a particular folder when you were in a matter?
So everybody has the ability to delete. Well, rarely, some organizations do disable this, but most of our clients, vast majority, let you delete, move to trash. So we'll delete, let's delete. And that will delete a document, but everybody has, and it will then say, do you want to delete this document or all documents? Everybody then has a trash folder available to them. So where your name appears, top right, you can go to trash, and it's like deleted items in Outlook. Everything you've previously deleted and how will be in this list. Now, how long it stays there for is determined by your organization. But I can then select one or multiple of those documents and restore them back to their original location. And it'll just put them back like nothing ever happened. Now, the administrators of the system can see everything deleted by everybody. They can run reports. If you really don't know where it is, you can say, look, I've lost a document. Now, if you've got the document number, brilliant. If you don't, give them something to work with, because it could be a needle in a haystack, but there are options there. Check your own trash folder. If not, ask colleagues to check their trash folder. If not, go to your IT team, but give them something to actually search against. And yeah, it's recoverable and restorable. Okay. Any other questions?
No, that's the only one at the moment. No, I think that's the only question.
I'll take that as a victory, or maybe everyone's asleep. I don't know. But I will take that as a victory. So feel free to hang back if you're shy to ask more questions. I don't mind. Reminding you all of next month's webinar topic, which is our searching the top tips masterclass. There's lots of things you can do and no one knows they can do it. So I think you'll get some value from that, and some of your power users might too. Sonia, anything to add to that?
No, everybody will receive an email an hour after the webinar with a recording of it and registration details for the next one. And if you've got any questions after the webinar's ended, please drop me an email and I'll make sure somebody gets back to you.
And also, anything you'd like covered in future webinars, please let us know. We want to make this relevant and useful for people, so do let us know. But for now, thank you all for joining us. I hope it made sense, and please feedback anything. We do want to make, again, these value for your time. Thank you.